Hey guys, welcome back to another round of CPW Science Edition. Today, we're going to be determining how the values of variables change as the values of another variable changes in a simple data presentation. Then we'll determine which conclusion or claim is or is not consistent with the data presentation. Then we'll determine which models present basic information, and then understand a simple experimental design. We know we'll be successful when we can evaluate the trend line of a graph to determine the relationship between temperature and density, support or negate a claim based on collected raw data, determine an appropriate hypothesis based on the scientific model, and then apply knowledge of density to predict the result of an experimental trial. In our first question, it asks, according to figure 1, as the temperature of the liquid water decreases from 10 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius, the density does what? So the big part of this question is that the temperature is decreasing from 10 degrees to 0 degrees. So we'll be reading our graph in figure 1 essentially backwards, going from 10 degrees backwards to 0 degrees. So I see that the trend line goes up as I go backwards or as I decrease my temperature, and then the trend line goes down. So because it increases and then decreases, the most appropriate answer for number 1 is D. In question number 2, it asks, a student claimed that if the masses of 1 cubic centimeter, remember this is the same thing as 1 milliliter, of a solid and 1 cubic centimeter of any liquid are compared, the mass of the solid will be greater. So the claim, guys, to sum up, is that the density of the solid is always going to be greater than the density of the liquid. Looking at my data, I see that in the liquid phase, mercury has a density of 13.59, which is higher than any of the densities of the solids. So the most appropriate answer to number 2 is B. In question number 3, it asks which of the following hypotheses about the relationship between temperature and density of a solid is best supported by the data in figure 2. And then it gives a qualifier. So as the temperature of the solid increases. So as our temperature increases going from -8 up to 0, so we're going left to right on the x-axis, it looks as though the trend line goes down. So the correct answer to number 3 is B, decreases only. Our last question focuses on your knowledge of density, which you've all covered in your chemistry classes. So density is equal to the mass of a substance divided by its unit volume. So what we're assuming is that you also know that the greater the mass, the more likely it is to sink. So we're given 3 substances. The first is ethyl ether with a density of 0.71. So ethyl ether has a density of 0.71. The next substance is mercury, which has a density of 13.59 grams per cubic centimeter. So because it has a higher number in terms of density, it means it's going to sink compared to the ethyl ether. And then the last thing we have is water, which is the density is given to us in the problem. So because the density of water is 0.9971 in this problem, it goes in the middle of the 2 substances. So mercury is going to sink to the bottom, and ethyl ether is going to rise to the top. So the only appropriate answer to number 4 is A. So that's this week's CPW answers. See you next time.